All right, today is Monday, June 8th, 2020. This is the Kubernetes CSI implementation meeting. So to start off, we have a couple PRs that need attention. So let's take a look. All right, first up, Xing, you have a PR for enabling data populators.
Yeah. So right now, if we don't make any change, the behavior is pretty strange. If you have this data source there, the volume external provisioner is going to go ahead and provision empty volume, and then it checks if there is any content source set. It's not, then it's going to go clean up, and so it's going to do this over and over again. So I think we should fix this. Yeah, so this fix is basically to basically just ignore this one and log a message and also report an event saying that we're waiting for an external data populator to create a volume. So external provisioner in this case will just skip this one. It's not going to create a volume.
That seems fine to me. I think, Ben, when you were prototyping, in your prototype, you had the populator create like an intermediate PVC.
Yes, that's the only way for the populator to get something from the CSI driver without exposing it to the requester of the original PVC.
Okay, yeah, I think then Xing's change sort of will align with that. So it seems fine with me. Does anyone else have any concerns? Okay, yeah, so I think this approach is fine. I'll go ahead and take another look.
Okay.
I think the only comment I had was just to add like the event to it.
Yeah, so I added, I think you're not checked. Oh, okay, yeah, I already updated. I added the event. So so that's the thing that I want to ask you, because I added this parameter in the external provisioner. Because I cannot use the one from the control directly. There isn't one in the external provisioner. Unless if we want to pass that in, but that may be a little weird too. So so that's the part I'm not sure, but right now I added a new parameter in external provisioner.
Okay.
For the event recorder, yeah.
Probably fine.
Okay.
All right, awesome. Next up, Dimitri is adding raw block tests.
Yeah, I just looked at the PR again. I think the only confusion is around how it's described. I left a comment about with a proposal to update the release notes, and I think then it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
All right, awesome. All right, thank you very much. All right, where did my page go? Okay. All right, so okay, let's go down our normal 119 status. Let's see. So I finally got around to trying to deflake this mock volume test. And so far, I've narrowed it down to a possible race in the attach-detach controller that causes the detach to not get called. So I'm still kind of debugging this, but I'll try to make some more progress on this front. Next up, Patrick.
Okay, so both storage capacity tracking and generic ephemeral inner volumes still need to pass production readiness review. I'm not sure how to pronounce the name. Wojtek, at least that's his handle.
Wojtek?
Wojtek. He agreed to look at it, but then has been not responding for, I think, for a week now. And he pulled in people from the API review, so I'm not sure exactly whether he wants the API review to be finished first. At least that's pending at this point. For generic ephemeral inline volumes, I submitted the API change, and there were questions around, is that really a change that you want? Both Jordan and who else was assigned? They were basically coming back and saying, well, this looks like a major change. Can't you do something simpler? So that's basically the state from last week too. I think we discussed it on Wednesday. And Jan replied in this API review with some explanation that it is useful, but I think we still need this meeting with our API reviewers to convince them that we have considered all of the alternatives and really want to go forward with this. So I'm a bit stuck here because we basically need those people to have time for further discussion apparently.
I guess, Jan, did you have a chance to talk with Jordan or Clayton?
I pinged them and they didn't reply on Friday. I may try again, but I'm not sure how successful I am.
I was discussing it a little bit with Jordan on the technical side. I think on Friday I pointed out one technical issue with the cyclic dependency between the PVC protection and ownership of pods. I found a solution and Jordan confirmed that this is a legitimate solution. Basically, the PVC protection controller was using pod deleted as indicator that the kubelet is done with a pod. But we need something that happens a little bit earlier, which is setting the deletion grace period seconds to 0. That is also indicating the kubelet is done. And if we look at that value, my problem goes away because we can delete the PVC while the pod still exists. So I was discussing that technical side of it with Jordan on Saturday. But yeah, we never really got down to whether we will have a meeting this week. That's still open.
Okay. So I would be careful on the changing the pod deletion criteria because pod deletion indicates that unmount has succeeded. So if we use the grace period instead, it might be possible that we end up deleting it while the volume is still melted.
I think John agreed that we can actually take that criteria because it's the last thing. It's the responsibility of kubelet to set that value to 0. And the only other case that he's aware of where that happens is when someone force deletes a pod. And we I think we can assume that if someone tries to force delete a pod, it's okay to move ahead with also deleting dependent resources like a PVC. So that seemed like an okay solution. But the bigger problem is API review and convincing our API reviewers to actually accept that we want this change. For storage capacity tracking, I was discussing with Michelle, with you on the old PR, whether we want this one additional flag field in CSI driver. You pointed out that there is a rollout use case where it would be useful to have that flag. And I added a further comment with a proposal how we can do that with just the CSI storage capacity. And my proposal was basically most of those objects will have a generated name, but we can also specify that a CSI storage capacity object with the driver name as name is basically the signal or the opt-in indicator for the scheduler that the driver is ready and wants to be scheduled with capacity information. It's a bit indirect, a bit less obvious than the CSI driver field, but it's a lot easier to implement because the scheduler needs to watch those objects anyway. And we don't need yet another API change in CSI driver. So if we can do it that way, I think that's a lot simpler.
Okay. I don't know if like saying enforcing like if you name it in a particular way then it behaves differently is going to be a good API. It's not going to be as clear as an actual field for it.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's basically a compromise. But on the other hand, these are
I
objects.
guess
Yeah, we can
I
try.
don't know.
Yeah.
Does the scheduler already look at CSI driver? I don't remember.
No, it doesn't. So that's one thing that it would start or would have to start listening to and watching. That's why I'm saying it's a lot easier if we just have to add
Yeah.
watching of the CSI storage capacity.
It is easier, but I think I don't think there's precedent that the specific names of objects will trigger behavior that's different.
Okay. So what's your opinion? Should we try to get it through API review this way, or should I immediately propose a new field in CSI driver?
I would still lean towards a new field.
Okay.
Does anyone else have a preference?
I would prefer a new field because naming things differently is, I don't know. I would expect it won't pass review.
Okay. Then I'll just bring back the code that I had for that already. So it's fine. I had that all coded up already a while ago. And it basically was your suggestion that we need that field that made me rethink that approach. But yeah, that's fine. So my goal is to have another PR ready for the API change for storage capacity tracking really soon, like tomorrow, because obviously we need time from our API reviewers to get both accepted.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. And I guess Jan, can you try following up with Jordan and Clayton to see if we can schedule some time to talk about the ephemeral volume tables?
Yeah. Other status updates. So in both cases, so for generic ephemeral volumes, I basically have an implementation working. There are now some known gaps where some features that I just haven't implemented yet. Some usability things like pod event or event handling. While we look at it, I actually do have a question where I want feedback. So the ephemeral controller, it basically does the PVC creation, and that's clearly a place where we want to emit errors for the pod, because if we can't create the PVC, that's a pod problem, and that's where it should be visible. But then once we have created the PVC, all further events go towards the PVC, and if someone just looks at the pod, they won't see those additional events with kubectl describe. I was wondering whether it would be useful to emit those events twice against the PVC, so that if you do a kubectl describe for the PVC, you see the events, and if you do a kubectl describe for the pod, you also see them, but only if the PVC is actually owned by that pod. Would that make sense? It's just a thought at this time. We haven't really discussed it in the CAP.
You can try for beta, but I don't know if deployment creates a pod, it doesn't get all the pods event. It's again something that's unusual.
What is unusual?
Like if you create a daemon set and it creates a pod, then
okay. Yeah.
you can see just the events in the pod and not in the daemon set. So I would assume.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Okay. So it would be a new feature, basically, or a new idea. I can leave it out. It certainly at this time I'm aiming for a solution that is as simple as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
You can always edit.
Yeah. And it might be the thing that where we want feedback from users, whether that's missing, whether they are missing that information when looking at a port or are fine without it. Okay. There is something that I ran into. So currently there is in the volume binder an error message being logged as an event if a PVC is missing, because for manually created PVCs, that's clearly an error that people want to know about immediately. When the PVC still needs to be created by the controller, it's normal. So we probably don't want that warning unless it goes on for a while and something is broken with the PVC with the ephemeral controller. So I was thinking whether a time check might be useful here. Any thoughts on that? We can always discuss it in the implementation phase too. It's not critical.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't have a, well, I guess you could check. You can check if this is in the inline volume case, like don't emit an event,
Yeah.
or have a warning to say we're waiting for a PVC to be created.
That definitely would only be applicable to the inline case. So the behavior for normal PVC ref for persistent volume claim source wouldn't change.
I think it's the same with stateful sets. If I think it creates ports and PVCs at the same time, and
No, I think it stateful set creates the PVC first.
I saw the event somewhere.
Okay,
Okay,
perhaps it's racy. If it does that both at the same time, the pod change might be seen first. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I'll ponder that a little bit more. For the scheduler, storage capacity tracking, I do also have a working implementation that's very simple. It's really just brute force walking through the known CSI storage capacity objects and trying to find whether there's enough capacity. But that's just the consuming side. So I've not changed anything in the external provisioner yet because I want to get the API review done first. But anyway, that's progressing as well. I think that's my status at this time.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Next up, there's a fix going out to try to address the scaling regression by making verify volumes attached use an informer. Oops. I think tests are passing now, but I think we want to see, right now there's like, we basically made the test pass by not using informers in the test. But we're gonna try to see if we can sort of rework the test to be able to support informers. I basically, the unit test was using a fake watcher, and that was conflicting with the informer, which was also pulling events from the watcher, the same channel. So I think Jay's gonna work on that today, and hopefully this week we should be able to merge this.
So the main coding actually probably should not change that much anymore, right? It's mainly the test that will be changing?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there was maybe one or two other things in the main code about being more specific about the error type.
Mm-hmm.
So I think right now it's like on any error, it's gonna mark the volume as detached.
Okay.
We might want to refine that and say only for a not found error, then mark the volume as detached.
Okay. Are you going to
just
you're going to check just if the volume attachment exists or not, or you're going to check the attached flag is set to true or not? I thought there was some discussion.
Yeah, it should be non-existence of the volume attachment object.
Okay, so he's going to change that, right? Looks like coding right now is
Yeah.
okay.
I think when we were discussing with Jan, I think marking it as detached when it's not actually detached is okay, because the next reconciler loop will trigger attach again and it will fix itself. So I think it's not like it's not that terrible if we mark it as detached too early, but it would be, I think it would be nice to just get it right. So
Okay.
all right. Next up, I think we have this save volume data recovery fix.
Yeah, I have asked the author to update the PR. Still waiting for. Okay, he's responding. Okay, so I'll
Okay.
discuss.
Sounds good.
I'll follow up in what it does necessary.
All right. Next up, there's some external provisioner changes. I pinged Humble on this. I think he said he would get to it, but haven't. Okay. It looks like he maybe got to it over the weekend. So I'll take another look at this. Next up, we have image publishing.
I think we are in good shape. There was one remaining issue with the host path driver because it does run commands under the beltx command, and that only works if you enable QEMU or configure QEMU properly. But we've solved that. We've merged the corresponding change into CSI release tools, and there's now a pending PR against host path driver to use just plain CSI to release tools again. If we have that merged, I think we are done for most of the sidecars. The question came up on Slack
Awesome.
whether we want the existing releases to also be multi-architecture. I think IBM is very interested in that for their 360 architecture. But I basically punted on that question. Right now, all the things that we will go to update anyway will have the new build rules. But for the older releases, we just we just promoted the existing Travis CI images. So those are still AMD 64 only. Yeah, that's
Okay.
currently the
Yeah,
status.
if they really wanted the older ones, that means we would have to backport all of the changes to the older release branches.
Yeah, or just do a new release without code changes and just tagging master and branching master
I mean, we
again.
can certainly do that too.
Yeah.
At least I think for some of the sidecars, we are pretty close to like getting things done. So I think
Yeah,
if
they might actually, I don't know, they might want releases of the old code because there are, I think, breaking changes in the upcoming releases. But I don't know. That's really something for IBM to figure out what they want, and I guess then submit backport pull requests if they want it in the old releases.
that's true. We are making at least external provisioner. I am planning for a major bump. So at least for external provisioner, I would be willing to backport this to at least the most recent release and get a new patch out.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for driving this. All right, next up we have Windows, which we'll skip. Next is volume health.
Yeah, for Golden House, I think Nick is addressing my comments, and also we're reviewing this mock driver changes. I actually should add that to this board. I think those are the mock drivers not here, but I should add it here. Yeah, so work in progress.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you very much. And then snapshots.
Yeah, snapshot. So okay, so I still have that. Yanchi has been reviewing my PR for the requeue change in common controller, and Ben says it's going to help with testing again. Thanks, Ben. The E2E test. So I think Grant's E2E test, I think he addressed comments from your coworker. Can you pin your coworker to review again? E2E
Yeah.
test policy.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Okay. The next one, I think Karthik is working on that. I think he still has some issues, so I need to take a look and see. I mean, once this V2 pass is involved, there's some problems with that. So yes, we need to get that one resolved.
All right.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
I see that Shangqian has CC'd his coworker on the metrics and the webhook. So maybe that his coworker is going to work on those too. Yeah.
Yep,
So,
I think so.
okay.
All right. Awesome. Thank you very much. Next up, we have volume expansion.
Yeah, so I have a PR out for using volume in use error in the external resizer. Zing reviewed it, and I addressed all your comments, I think, and can you have a look at it again? Then I opened another PR yesterday for the CSI test to add the sanity test for calling node expand volume after node publish. I think that is passing as well, so I need reviews on that. I should have a PR out today for API changes for volume recovery. I'm working on it, so yeah, and I think that's it for now. And then yeah, then I have like other two cards like using volume and use error in the kubelet that I'll be working on. And yeah.
All right. Awesome. Let's see. That's all the in progress features that we have here. Is there anything else? Are we tracking the CSI driver changes?
I have a question for external attacher. So we run into some problems with reviewing the leader election lease, and I see that there are some bug fixes went into for those issues, but those are in 1.18. Our attacher right now it's based on 1.17. I think in the master it's already updated to be 1.18. So are we going to cut a release soon, or
Yeah, I think with the usual 119 release stuff, we'll release a new attacher.
okay? So basically that we're going to wait until 1.8, 1.19 is released.
Yeah, I think so. But I think external attacher will not depend on anything in 119. So
Not 119, but
you
1.8. But 118, we should be able to cut a release for 118, right? We have not.
yeah. No,
Oh,
we already have cut things for
but
118.
it's not dependent on 1.18. There are some changes that that
Correct. So
are.
I think so. Like we cut stuff during the 118 cycle, but I think most of the client Go things were still on 117 at that time.
Okay.
So we can certainly cut something during the 119 release cycle. But I'm just saying the external attacher itself doesn't depend on 119. You can run it on older versions of Kubernetes too.
Yeah, but there are some problem with the leader election. Those changes are in 1.18. That's what I was trying to say. So we run into some problems. External attacher cannot get started because it keep saying that it can't renew the lease. So I found there were some existing issues that got
Oh, is this in Client Go or is this in
I-
Kubernetes?
client Go, I think.
Okay. Like I think so if the problem is in Client Go, you can actually use it against older Kubernetes releases. It should be fine. As long as it doesn't depend on like any API changes that were in the Kubernetes side.
But how does that work? I mean, the external attacher depends on those, right? Using the external attacher using the leader election code.
Yes.
But
So
external attacher depends on 1.17 right now.
yes. So I just mean if we can update the client Go in external attacher to use 118,
Yeah, so that's
the
my
118
yeah,
client
I
Go.
guess that's my question. So I think it's already updated in the master, but we don't have a release cut after that. That's what I mean.
Yeah, so I think in this quarter's release that we do, we can cut a new external attacher with it.
Okay. So when do you think that will be?
I guess Jan, do you anticipate any other changes needing to go in external attacher?
Oh, I don't remember right now, but I don't think so. Let me check.
Like, because I think this is a problem for all the sidecars, right? Because all the sidecars use the same leader election stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not just about releasing when we're gonna release external attacher. It's when we're gonna release all the other sidecars.
And
Um,
which bug was that, by the way? Just
Yeah, so, okay, let me actually, what's that? There was this issue, there are a couple of things that got fixed. Let me put it in the chat. So this is the issue, and then there are a couple of, I think there are a couple of things that are fixed along with this. There's one, I think, that's this, the try, acquire, or renew. So yeah, there are, if you see that there are several things got merged just related to this one. So I was looking at this one, looking at, this is the error that we are getting, is it was not able to acquire the lease.
So this bug is talking about config map, not leases.
But this is a failing to renew lease, right? So there is this one too. There are several things fixed here. So you see this one
Okay.
the second one you see I passed. Yeah, there are like a couple of things. I see this one, it says pass context to try, acquire, or renew. So that one is for lease, I think, acquire, renew, because that's the one that we see that fails, try to acquire, or renew. I think that one, this one is a lease. Yeah, not everything are regarding the lease, but I think this one is for the lease. I think try, acquire, or renew. I think that function is for the lease. Yeah. So that one, that's a copy Mac. Yeah, there was one, but there are fixes for the lease as well.
Okay, yeah. So I think the main thing is we'll need to just make sure before we release a new sidecar that we've updated client Go to 118 in all of our sidecars.
Yeah, so I know that we have already updated that, the snapshotter. So Humble has been doing that. So that one in snapshotter is already updated. Attachers, or that one is also updated in the master. I don't know about other sidecars.
we had a.
I think
Sorry.
I saw Humble updating client Go on like a number, I think almost all the sidecars. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's just a matter of we need to get them all in and then cut some new releases.
Okay.
Hamad, did you have something?
No, I mean, we don't have the for resize, but I was just saying that we also have a bug about the snapshotter getting stuck in the leader direction between upgrade from 117 to 118, I think. Jan?
Yeah, but I don't see, well, 116 to 117, but I don't see any, we don't see any crashes. We just got one update case when the leader election was, when the old leader was dead and the new leader couldn't get the log for, I don't know, 2 hours. But that looks like something else. Interesting.
Yeah, I saw another issue with leader election where it basically API server went down and then API server came back, but the client Go library was still trying to use the old connection to the API server and it never tried to recreate a new connection.
Okay, a lot of issues.
Anyway, lots of issues. All right. Any other, we're over time. Are there any other topics anyone wants to bring up?
Just one question. I was playing with Snapshots today and I see that we have CRD API approved.kubernetes.io with annotation. The CRDs for snapshots have annotation API-approved.kubernetes.io that should point to API review, but it points to some unrelated pull request. Have you seen that, or is it something that we do downstream?
I'm sorry, I'm not following you. What do you mean?
Oh, is it like the wrong PR was referenced in the thing?
Yeah.
Like a off by one.
Oh, do we have did Snapshot pass API review actually?
It did.
Yeah.
So in the actual external snapshotter PR that added it, Tim Hawken was the API approver.
Okay. So I just find that PR and
yeah, it's in the external snapshotter.
Okay, that's easy. Thank you.
Yeah, but maybe it's maybe that's a typo and we need to fix the URL.
So can you show me what is that? Which one is that?
I shared it into the document with minutes, but I can show you. Where is chat here? I change it every time. And I actually don't know who edited it there. It could be actually OpenShift who edited there.
This one is because I think this is because when you are generate the code, you're supposed to every time you're supposed to put in the latest PR there. That's why because Christian is the one who updated the PR last. So that's why his PR is here, not the old one, not the Shangqian's one. I mean, yeah. That's your question because I think we're supposed to update this field every time somebody update the PR, even though that's not the original change. I think.
No. It should point to the API review. Where is the
and we can change that because that's what Shangqian was telling me, and he asked because he was saying that you supposed to change it every time. So I actually specifically asked Christian to change that with his.
Here is Kubernetes enhancement that says
because
it should point.
Original one that is okay. Then we just revert that one line back, change that one line back to. I thought that's what he was telling me. So I thought that every time it needs to be changed. Yeah. So initially it should be the one that we updated to beta, and then we changed it when Christian updated this whole
Here
thing.
it says the value should be a link to a URL where the current spec was approved. So
Yeah.
updates to the spec should also update the URL.
Spec should also.
So
So
only
it-
if you change the
So when that-
CRD,
So
you
then,
should change the link.
if that's the case, then we should update update to.
Wait, so but it says every time we update it, we need to update the URL.
Right. So that's
If
why.
you update the spec,
But then, but what does it mean to update the spec? I guess.
like the API, if you update the CRD.spec.
Yeah, but he
Like,
did change
so
it.
it did.
He did change
Uh-huh.
the CRD, right? So
Yeah, but in like cosmetic
those are for printing. Yeah, those are.
way. Okay.
Depending on how you interpret that.
We
I-
can like we can bring this up with API machinery, like I don't know, a better way to keep history, I guess.
but yeah, I think you
'cause
only have one of that. You cannot have two, right? So that's the thing. You can't.
or like maybe this could be like a comma separated thing or something.
No, I think it only take one field of it. This annotation, right? It can have two annotation with the same key.
Could it be that there's some other spec document that is supposed to get revved at the same time? This is supposed to point to?
I mean, I guess theoretically, if you go to this file and do a blame, then, or a history, you'll get the commit history from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but isn't the idea
So
here
if
that
you really wanted to like,
this data actually goes into the Kubernetes database at runtime? Like,
Yeah,
totally.
but that's fine. I mean, that does not really, it's not going to do anything, right? This is like a reference mainly for.
But the question is, what's the point of it? Like, if we're putting it in at runtime so end users can go see it, like, presumably they want to do something with that. They want to be able to go click on it and learn something useful.
I think this is more for that dev. It's for developers, so you know when this.
But then why put it into the Kubernetes database at runtime? Like, it just feels strange.
They want to protect Kubernetes APIs from some random guy creating an API that looks like Kubernetes.
Yeah, so.
And this could be a way. Like, it's
I guess
manual validation, but.
Yeah, there's no like enforcement of it, I think. It's just sort of like a read-only thing right now.
Yeah, if you miss the validation, if you miss the annotation, then bad things happens. Like, it won't be allowed to be created or things like that. But if it has a value, then nobody cares about the value, at least in the API state.
Wait, are you saying that's what they do?
Mm-hmm. I think you must have.
Do they actually
something.
enforce it?
I think they do. Or
oh,
that
fail
was the plan.
validation. I see.
That was the plan.
They do, in their CAP, they do talk about failing validation if the annotation's not there.
Yeah, don't know if it was implemented, but at least it is there. And there is option to have special value unimproved, and you can, like, that will be accepted, but you should put something useful there.
Okay.
So as we don't know what it actually should be, I will leave it as it is.
Should
the
we
last PR that changed
go back to 139? Maybe, I don't know. Should we go back
Why don't we sync up with API machinery and ask them for their recommendation?
Okay. Yeah.
It sounds like what they only really care about is that there is a value in it. I'm not sure they really care about what the value is.
Yeah, I don't think so. But probably it's more appropriate just to have the original one there. After that, you could have some small changes, right? Like over and over again. I mean, I'm not sure what. Just don't keep track of those and only have the original.
Technically, all these small changes should pass API review too, like in Kubernetes API, right?
Yes.
So if that PR had API approved label, or how is it called, then it would be probably okay.
Yeah, if it's really adding a field or something, but this is like a printing information, so it's not really a field. This is for printing purpose, right? So if it's adding a new field, we definitely will go for approval. So maybe this should go back to 139, I think, because this is not really like something that we need an API approval, right?
I agree.
Well, the current version is approved, and this is not like approved. Yeah, it's changed, but it's not. Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I would just clarify with someone from SIG API machinery just to make sure.
Yeah.
All right, awesome. Any other topics? All right, then we'll end the meeting for today. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.